I'm here in Wabasca, Alberta, and for the first time ever, we are going to demonstrate that our robot can do a diagnostic ultrasound.
Today, we'll be performing our first long-distance telesonography in Wabasca, Alberta, with the sonographer stationed here in London, Ontario. To put this in perspective, London, Ontario is over 3,000 kilometers away from Wabasca. That's a similar distance as Cancun, Mexico to Toronto, Canada, or almost exactly the same distance across the Atlantic Ocean from Canada's east coast and Ireland. This is also a special moment because the entire Wosler story started based on my experience as a medical student in Wabasca. Healthcare is at an inflection point right now. As it stands today, the interests of healthcare providers, patients, and policymakers are ever so aligned when it comes to adoption of efficient and high-impact healthcare innovation. Wosler is a healthcare technology company comprised of super dedicated people working very hard to improve access to healthcare regardless of labor availability or remoteness of patient location. We're currently focused on solving the problem of inadequate distribution of sonographer labor. Now, this is a problem that affects many of the 53 million patients in North America that live in rural and remote communities. We're doing this by extending the reach of sonographers and obviating the need for the sonographer to be physically present at the patient location. This means patients in rural and remote communities can have access to high-quality diagnostic ultrasound services without the need for the patient to travel long distances for an ultrasound scan.
My name is Pauline Auger. I'm a registered nurse and I work at Wabasca Health Care Center. I work part-time as the assistant head nurse. It benefits the people, especially Big Stone members that have to find transportation, or anyone that finds transportation, to have to go to the nearest ultrasound places will be like Slave Lake, which is about an hour and 15 minutes from here, and Athabasca, which is closer to 2 hours. In the winter time, when roads are slippery, this is hard for some of the people to be able to attend their appointments.
Currently, if a patient in a rural community goes to see a doctor and it's determined that they need an ultrasound scan, the patient must drive themselves or find ways of getting to the nearest imaging center, which can be hundreds of kilometers away. Most often, patients choose to delay or not travel for the ultrasound imaging for many reasons, including not having childcare, not having access to a vehicle, or even being afraid of driving. Attempts to run ultrasound clinics in these rural communities is very impractical because it's very expensive to retain and recruit sonographers in these communities.
As a sonographer who lived and worked in many rural communities, I know firsthand how difficult it is for a sonographer to be retained in small remote communities. Sonographers are on high demand and want options when it comes to learning new skills, education for their kids, work opportunities for spouses, and so on.
So our solution is a scalable, robot-assisted sonography system that will let the sonographer remotely scan multiple locations. We describe this using a hub and spoke model. This means that the sonographer can remain situated in an already existing urban imaging clinic or can just work from the comfort of their home. In this way, they can continue to service patients in person without disrupting their day-to-day workflow, but also filling the rest of their workload with essential remote services. The hub is wherever the sonographer is stationed. We provide them with our custom SonoStation, which is an intuitive haptic ultrasonography robot control device. The motion control module is a custom miniature robotic system with 6 degrees of freedom, which presents a familiar movement experience, not unlike standing patient-side. It tells the robot the precise position and orientation of the probe that the remote side robot will follow, while also presenting the sonographer with identical forces experienced by the robot while in contact with the patient in real time.
Hold your breath in. Lose your kidney. Okay, breathe. Morrison's pouch.
And again.
Yeah. Deep breath in. Keep your breath in. Yeah.
The ultrasound control module is a touchscreen portraying multiple live video feeds of the robot and patient, as well as a familiar ultrasound monitor interface, showing the image, controls, and other relevant information about the procedure. We've also developed a web interface called SonoLink, through which the sonographer and patient are connected and can freely communicate while the sonographer can start remotely controlling the Sonobot. And the Spoke is a remote clinic where the patient attends for a diagnostic scan. This clinic is outfitted with our Sonobot, which will be the vehicle administering the scan. Sonobot is an intrinsically safe robot arm. It also has 6 degrees of freedom and is packed with 7 precision force torque sensors required to have a delicate, force-sensitive experience with the patient. The patient is outfitted with a pain threshold monitor to directly control the peak forces the robot can apply onto them. The robot remains actively compliant beyond these allowed force thresholds. Sonobot is also equipped with multiple ultrasound probes. It can perform automatic tool changes to switch between them. It can even select a gel dispenser tool used for automatically warming and dispensing gel.
On the day of the ultrasound, the patient walks into the rural healthcare center. They're then directed by the receptionist to the ultrasound room, where the receptionist will turn on the device. The remote telesonographer can then communicate with the patient through an audio-visual communication link and perform the scan on the patient. Once the images are obtained, they will be read and the report is sent to their ordering doctor. What we have done today is a huge accomplishment. This is the future of sonography.
Fundamentally, we're building a future where the efficiency of healthcare delivery and access to healthcare is actually not limited by labor availability. And we welcome all stakeholders to join our mission. But there's a window here. There's a window of opportunity, an opportunity to drive long-lasting change for the future of our healthcare system.